This year, I want to be able to get up here and give you a message of hope. I want to believe that Shana Tova, Happy New Year, wouldn't be just a saying this year. That you and I and everyone in the whole world would be living in peace, and we could look back on this last year with gratitude and look forward with excitement. But I am not feeling that usual sense of hope that I carry with me, the excitement of the new year and the freshness of being able to renew relationships with Teshuvah. This last year has been a painful one for us, for our Metro Detroit community, for our beloved families in our congregation, for the entire Jewish population around the world. Just these last 24 hours alone. And I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. But tonight, I'm looking for hope in any way I can get it. Through our tradition, through art, music, and community. Places where I know I've experienced it before. So I'd like to offer you a few things that I've been using to help me strengthen my depleted stash of hope. And if you're feeling this way, maybe these will help to add to your stash as well. And please share your hope with me and with one another over these Chagim. Hope can look like a small gesture of welcome or something big, like a how are you really? Share that with each other. We're here together. So at times like this, I first go to our tradition. I've clearly chosen the right profession for that job. I look to see what we can learn from the things we already have and the words that we read every year. You all know I like to say that we read the same thing every year, but we are different every year. Right? So the words are the same, but we have changed, so we hear them differently. Our life circumstances are changed. Everything is different. So I think we have something new to glean. And knowing that tomorrow we will read the story of Hannah, I think we should start there with the woman who is credited for the structure and content of the Amidah that we just prayed. Author Judy Bolton Fassman writes, Hannah, the heroine of the Haftarah that is traditionally chanted on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, desperately wanted a child. Although she is not the first biblical woman to experience the pain of infertility, she is the first woman to confront God about her situation through personal prayer. In a number of midrashim, Hannah is acknowledged to have introduced the model for contemporary prayer and the way that we approach God. But, like many inventions, there were missteps in Hannah's journey. In fact, when Eli, the high priest, saw Hannah moving her lips and praying soundlessly, which you might see in an Orthodox community, he assumed she was drunk. And Hannah quickly corrected him and said, I am a woman hard of spirit. I have drunk no wine or other strong drink, but I have been pouring my soul out to God. Now, I'm going to say the caveat here of women are not only good for childbirth, and named women in the Torah are often known as barren, and that's a separate sermon for a separate day. I just want to, it's fine. But it probably won't be this year's sermon, so. But I want to say that Hannah was brave. Hannah approached God and said, I don't know what to do, here's what I want, here's what I need, and yelled at God. Hannah was honest. And God heard the anger and the fear and the loneliness and held them. And eventually, she had a son. Now, this is one of my favorite stories, and not just because her son and my favorite brother share a same name. Hannah is a story of hope. A story that teaches us that things might look different from what we planned. They might fall apart and change completely, but if we surrender the outcome and do our part, there is hope that whatever we need might happen. Now, I want to be really clear here and say I'm not saying the whole everything happens for a reason thing, or you are only given what you can handle thing. I don't like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's hope even in the hardest things and even in the changes and the anger and the this is not what I thought my life would look like stuff. From Hannah, we learn that our fear and our anger are also holy. God's divinity is not a barrier to us having a more human relationship with the divine. And Judaism recognizes that human relationships are kind of the only ones we know how to have. So this means that the holy energy of the universe holds all of the parts of us, even the sadness, even the desperation, the fear, the jealousy, all of it. So it's not just ancient wisdom that I'm pulling from hope, I'm pulling to find hope. It's also more modern culture and younger teachers amongst us to whom I feel grateful. Tomorrow, I will speak about the Jerusalem Youth Chorus, which I'm sure some of you are tired of hearing me talk about, but some of you who haven't heard me talk about it yet, get ready, which is giving me hope, but I want to speak about a different form of art, which is lightening the heaviness of this moment. You guys know the poem, This Is Just to Say by William Carlos Williams? It's a favorite amongst middle school teachers and internet culture enthusiasts. It goes like this. This is just to say, I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me. They were delicious, so sweet and cold. This is one of my favorite poems, and I don't know exactly when I heard it. I wanted to credit like Mrs. Diamond, my 6th grade teacher, but I don't think it was her. I love that you can sort of taste the plums, and you know how sweet and cold they were. And now, it's not the best example of teshuvah for this time of year, so we're not going to take that lesson from Mr. Williams. It seems, in fact, that he was delighted to eat those plums that his wife was saving for breakfast, which I did research on, and she was indeed saving them for breakfast. But what strengthens me, actually, is the responses to this poem that I've read. It's often used as a tool to teach middle school or maybe 9th graders that poetry can be simple and effective. And students will often use this poem as a jumping off point, a place to mimic the style to start writing their own messages. A favorite of mine comes from Kwame Alexander's book, From Page to Stage, a writing workshop for students. He had students learn about the poem, about the meter, about all of the different pieces of poetry that we see here, and then he had them write their own. One of the students he worked with wrote this. This is just to say that I have destroyed the bombs that were in the factory, and which you were probably saving for war. Forgive me, they were freaking me out. So scary. So dangerous. It's Eleanor, 4th grade. Mr. Alexander gave Eleanor of 4th grade fame the ability to express what young people are constantly teaching me. We can build a better world. We just have to believe that something better exists. We must know it in our guts, even if we can't see it. The future is peace. I learned this from B'nai Mitzvah students, from the CS teens, from our madrichim, the students of our family education program. This is where I feel hopeful. What a student remembers a lesson I taught them that I thought was pretty spectacular, that feels good. But when I see a student supporting another student when they had a tough morning, or a madrich, or one of our teaching assistants, who used to be pretty disruptive in school, develop into a kind and gentle teacher and help a student who is just like them, that's a moment of hope for me. Psalm 145 says, "Everyone's eyes look to you, Holy One, with hope. You give them their sustenance in its time." Rabbi Nachman of Bretzlav, who taught in the Likutei Moharan, said that this is the benefit of trust. Trust is the aspect of looking. A person looks and watches with their eyes for God alone. And that person trusts in God, as it says, everyone's eyes look to you with hope. Looking with trust also creates a vessel, namely dimension and time. Bounty is constantly descending from on high, but is without fixed time. On occasion, the things one needs now will arrive in 2 or 3 or 5 years. However, by looking with trust, they give the bounty dimension and time, so that this bounty comes the very time one needs it. What's Rabbi Nachman trying to teach us? That having trust in a larger force plays a powerful role in cultivating hope. This trust in God, oneness, the universe, the community, whatever it is that is greater than us, that can fortify us to take action for the long haul. I'm grateful for this teaching of Chassidut from the early 1800s. It reminds me that it is our responsibility to surrender the outcome. It is our responsibility to do the work and then wait. And we each just have to keep moving forward and doing our part, and the rest will come. This too gives me hope. It gives me hope and trust in our community, in our leaders, and in each of you. When I can't fathom that God would do something like X, or God would make something like this happen, perhaps that idea of hope is too big. So I look to community for that same support. Having trust in a larger force plays a powerful role in cultivating hope. And so at this moment, when I need it, I'm going to put that in my stash too. So I am going to wish you a Shana Tova, a good year. And it is full of hope, for peace, for calmness, for oneness, and for exactly what you need. Shana Yoter Tova, may it be a good, a better year.
Amen.